voices of discontent are increasingly being heard in Russia, even within the military. Among the military, both active and retired, frustration is growing over Vladimir Putin's failed strategy in the war against Ukraine. Many generals believe that the Kremlin's actions are not only leading to disaster at the front, but are also destroying the very state. The National Security Journal reports this. Even before the invasion began in February 2022, retired Colonel General Leonid Ivashov, the former head of the All-Russian Officers' Assembly, sounded the alarm. He publicly called on Putin to resign, warning that the real threat to Russia was not NATO, but corruption, a demographic crisis, and incompetent leadership. After the war began, Ivashov only intensified his criticism, declaring that the conflict with Ukraine would lead to the destruction of Russian statehood and mass casualties. In December 2024, the general compared Putin's regime to that of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad, noting that the Kremlin was heading down the same path toward internal collapse and international isolation. According to him, Russia was turning into a besieged fortress, where decisions were being made not by military professionals but by people out of touch with reality. TNSJ sources emphasize that fatigue and irritation are growing, even among other officers loyal to the Kremlin. Putin continues to demand maximum goals and believes in victory by attrition, despite colossal losses. The generals don't understand the point of continuing offensive operations that are ineffective and claiming the lives of thousands of soldiers daily. The Kremlin's refusal to negotiate and any attempts to discuss a diplomatic solution are causing confusion even within the general staff. According to Ivashov, the gap between professional military personnel and the Kremlin elite has become obvious. The former are forced to bear responsibility for failures at the front, while the latter continue to advance their careers and grow rich amid the war. Ivashov served as a senior aide to the country's defense minister and as the ministry's chief of general affairs before the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. He held other high-ranking military posts and commands before retiring, or some say forced to retire by Putin in 2001. Functions he carried out at the time included numerous negotiations with NATO and the US military. Ivashov has since looked upon Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine as a serious blunder that would harm Russia inside and out. Given his previous positions, many see his viewpoint as serious and not motivated by political or personal agendas. Domestically, he predicted a prolonged war would weaken the economy and aggravate an already looming demographic crisis. In the international arena, he warned it would lose friends for Russia and risk war with NATO. His predictions have proven to be brutally accurate. Ivashov has since blamed Putin for risking the final destruction of Russian statehood and the extermination of the indigenous population of the country, despite the Kremlin's usually merciless repression of any expressions of dissent. Ivashov has since continued to criticize the invasion publicly.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announced on Wednesday that he had asked the country's Supreme Court to consider whether or not it is constitutional to strip Venezuelan nationality from those who support or join the call for a military invasion of the South American country. I have submitted a constitutional consideration to the Supreme Court of Justice based on Article 130 so that the Supreme Court of Justice may authorize proceedings against traitors who join a foreign imperialist army to invade Venezuela, stripping them of their Venezuelan nationality, Maduro said at a televised government event. According to Associated Press, Article 130 of the Constitution establishes that Venezuelans have the duty to honor and defend the homeland, its symbols, and cultural values, to safeguard and protect the sovereignty, nationality, territorial integrity, self-determination, and interests of the nation. The action includes the removal of all documentation and everything else that must be taken away from them in accordance with the law and the Constitution, the president added. The announcement came 4 days after Vice President Delcy Rodriguez reported on her Telegram account that Maduro had filed a motion with the Supreme Court controlled by the government to revoke the citizenship of opposition politician Leopoldo López for his grotesque, criminal and illegal call for a military invasion of Venezuela. From his exile in Spain, the opposition activist denied the viability of the measure against him. López, a prominent opposition activist, has publicly stated his support for the deployment of U.S. warships in the Caribbean, near Venezuela, as part of what U.S. President Donald Trump says is an effort to combat threats from Latin American drug cartels. The Trump administration has stated that it considers alleged drug traffickers to be illegal combatants who must be confronted with military force.
No está combinada ni con gobernador, ni alcalde, ni Asamblea Nacional. Es una elección solo para que el Padrino, Hernández Lares, Romero Bolívar, yo he elevado al Tribunal Supremo de Justicia una consideración constitucional en base al artículo 130 para que agentes vendepatria que se suman a un ejército extranjero imperialista para invadir a Venezuela, el Tribunal Supremo de Justicia autorice proceder y quitarle la nacionalidad venezolana, toda la documentación y todo lo que haya que quitarle de acuerdo a la ley y la Constitución. Lo hice por la calle del medio. Hoy miércoles, día de comuna, muy importante porque quiero...
Traidora, no merece ni tenerla al derecho. Una traidora, desleal. No, pensó en su país, en su Trinidad y Tobago, porque no somos enemigos de Trinidad y Tobago, somos enemigos de ella, que fue la que tomó la decisión.
Décimo primero, se debe aprobar con modificación la denominación del